developing an online presence. I know most people have the idea that, hey, you need to have a website, you need to have, maybe a Google My Business page, you need to have some kind of, basic footprint digitally. However, when you look at most people that are struggling to get clients and you start to do a search on them, you find that it is very difficult to find them, to find their address, to find their phone number, to find ways to contact them. And the reason why is that because most of the time, they haven't done the basics to get their practice set up online. The reality is that in 2023, your online presence is actually more important than your brick and mortar presence. When I first started building clinics, it was really critical to have a clinic that was maybe near the hospital or kind of in the medical area of town, and basically, somewhere ideally close to, a heavy traffic road so people would see your sign, that kind of thing. Nowadays, it is actually far more important to have digital footprint that is larger, that people can, view and can find you easily if they search you in the phone. If someone can use their voice app to basically say, hey, find me an orthopedic surgeon near me, or find me a pain management doctor, find me a medical spa near me, that is going to be far, far more important as we go forward. The reality is that ever since the pandemic, the role of digital versus physical has essentially flipped. And now if you don't have a digital presence, you are likely getting less customers. Having an excellent physical presence was really key to winning back, in the 90s and maybe early 2000s. However, nowadays, having a digital presence is really more important. Just to give you an example, a lot of times I'll work to test different ideas. So for example, I'll have an idea of hey, how can we help people with knee arthritis or something like this? And what I'll do is I'll develop a clinic to test a protocol or test an idea. And so one of the things that I did was actually worked with one of my friends and got a room in his office where I was just going to see a few patients, maybe one day a week, just kind of get patients in, test this protocol, see if it helped them, and then take that protocol and do something with it. First thing I did is I started building a digital presence. And one of the things that we use a lot is we use a software called ClickPractice. And the ClickPractice software helped us build a digital presence that was so strong that he was actually getting calls to his office asking about our services, even though we didn't really exist in a physical form yet. We'd literally just started the clinic, but our digital presence was so strong that it was actually pulling people into the location. So, realize that your digital presence is far, far more important now than your physical presence, to the point that I've seen multiple medical entrepreneurs actually set up their digital presence first before they even had a physical location, or, using a rented room in someone's office, and basically be able to build an entire clinic essentially from digital, and then getting a physical location later, and staffing it later. So the world has kind of changed in that regard, and it's getting to a point where it's just really, really more important you have that digital presence. A couple of things that you need to have on your digital presence is, of course, you need to have a website. You need to have social media accounts on the major platforms. You don't need to post to all of them. You need to just pick one of them to post to initially. However, you do need to have some information that people can find you. So if someone is searching for you online, you need to have your Google My Business profile built so they can easily find you on Google. You need to basically have your name in many of the online directories. You need to have a website that has a way to reach you. And you need to have, some form of, email or communication, ideally even a box or a text widget where somebody can go to your website and basically, use messaging to communicate with your staff and ask questions to get you in, because more people are doing that nowadays than they are actually going and calling. Some of the older patients will be more likely to call. So people that are, greater than 50 are more likely to use the phone. However, even that is changing as they are becoming more familiar with social media and cell phones. I would say that the number one way that people reach out nowadays to most of our clinics is probably through text message. It's kind of interesting. If you allow someone to text message your office, you'll find that is very useful, and you'll get many, many more people that will simply text you rather than trying to make a phone call. And in many cases, it's actually easier on you as the clinic owner because you don't have to have as many staff. You can get back to that text message through asynchronous communication, meaning you don't have to have somebody literally sitting on the phone talking to someone. Their time is not blocked up. They can be checking out a patient and then text back that other person. It just becomes far more efficient.